Greetings Marines, FiOth here, and today I'm gonna bring you my first build for the Lancer. But first, let's pause right here. Yes, paused. I have to explain a couple of things. Sony Europe yesterday really shut the bed when it comes to their deployment of the patch for the PlayStation 5. Every system except for the PlayStation 5 in Europe, Australia and a couple other regions has been patched, but we were not first-rate citizens. It seems we might have sinned in the past, or we owe someone money and they didn't allow us to get the patch. They really don't like us that much, it seems. It's not called Iron's fault. I know this firsthand, so don't bitch to this about the devs. It's Sony's fault, Sony Europe in particular. Now what I will be doing here is I will take my footage from the Xbox, drop it into the renderer and talk on top of the footage and explain what I am doing. It's gonna be very precise and I'm gonna explain everything very simply, so you don't have to worry about it. Pauses and slowdowns on the vid are intentional, so I will have the time to get to a specific segment that I have pre-recorded and explain what I'm doing in said segment. Also, my first stream of the update did take place as planned, but on the other platform, the purple one, you know what I mean. You can go watch it there, or I will be uploading it anyway later on today before the stream that I will be having tonight. If for any reason tonight you're not able to get to the stream on YouTube, you know what you have to do. Don't make me spell it out for you. Okay, so let's get to the build proper. So this is the Lancer grid. Onslaught and Particle Lance are your kit abilities and Overwatch is your passive. The Particle Lance states: fires a penetrating beam in front of you, damaging all enemies in its path. The beam passes through all foes but is blocked by any terrain. We have this modified for the short range blast. I will explain what it does in a bit. Overwatch: while standing still in cover, you gain 1 stack of Overwatch a second, up to 5. Overwatch increases accuracy, damage and stability by 3% per stack. When out of cover or moving, you lose 1 stack of Overwatch per second. And here we have Onslaught. Immediately reload your current weapon. This slows your movement speed and fire rate by 20% while increasing your weapon damage and damage resistance by 20%. Your weapon automatically reloads after every shot for the duration of the effect. A huge magazine that allows you to pretty much fire non-stop. Now we're gonna stand here for a second. The Particle Wave. This is the modifier for the Particle Lance. Fires a short-range energy cone in front of you, damaging all enemies in its path. The cone passes through all foes but is blocked by terrain. Your damage resistance is greatly increased on activation and struck enemies are stunned for up to 3 seconds. What we are doing with this build is that we are creating a frontline warrior that will meet the enemy face to face, stacking resistances, improved health pools and passive regeneration in order to take the fight to the enemy, initiating combat, having the ability to recover from any scratches and bruises, and of course cause great damage in doing so. Building upon this, we have Rapid Assessment. When you activate the ability this perk is attached to, you gain max stacks of Overwatch. So as soon as you click the blast will be deployed with plus 15% overall damage. When it comes to Overwatch, Overwatch increases all damage, both ability and weapon damage, whilst Onslaught only increases weapon damage. Keep that in mind. They stack when it comes to firing weapons, but they do not stack when it comes to firing abilities. Disruption Radiation. Particle Lance now slows struck enemies by 40% for 5 seconds. So everything that survives will just be very, very slow. With these 3 perks working in tandem, we have a very powerful short range blast that will either kill, stun or slow what remains. Onslaught is something that you want to deploy as soon as you meet the enemy up front, mainly to get the damage resistance. You initially activate abilities and then move on to guns. Now to survive this mess, we want to use this. Shake It Off. 20% of received damage is stored in a recovery pool. After not taking damage for 8 seconds, you recover the stored amount as health over 4 seconds. And we can fortify this even more with Resilience. Shake It Off now stores 30% of received damage in recovery pool. After not taking damage for 6 seconds, you recover the stored amount of health over 3 seconds. So you will be leading the charge, getting in front of your allies, firing the particle lance, probably getting struck. If you manage to mitigate the amount of attacks you get in the face, you will recover some of the health. The protective layer will protect you even further because damage from melee attacks and environmental hazards is reduced by 20%. Then we go with fitness training that increases incoming healing and max health by 10%, improves stamina recharge by 20%. Awesome. And of course, back me up is very integral because allies will deal 24% more damage to enemies that are targeting you. Enemies will be targeting you because you will be in the forefront, taking the brunt of the assault. So this is the combination of perks that makes everything work. We will put Force Multiplier 4 and 3 on Particle Lance for a total of 40% increased damage. That's where diminishing return starts, so you don't want to go aboard with it. And Rapid Deployment with Quick Charge 2 for a 33% reduction in recharge for your ability. When you initiate combat, it will look something like this. You get in front of your allies, activate Onslaught, fire your Particle Lance, start mowing down. You have an infinite magazine as long as you have Onslaught activated. As soon as this wears out, you get your fire rate back, lose the damage resistance, and of course you have to normally reload once you deplete your mag. Initial thoughts on the class. The Lancer is a monster. It's amazing, great fun to play with. And of course, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg here. There will be a ton of builds to work with on this class. And of course, pairing it with other weapons and using perks that might be out of the box thinking. The Particle Burst is a totally different story. The Simple Particle Lance is a totally different story. On top of every other combination of its defensive perk that work in very interesting and intricate ways. As with all my builds, I don't really suggest any of the training perks. Those 4-socket bricks are not worth the space just to make your gun slightly better. My Vanguard build for the gunner, which is considered one of the strongest for the class, uses 0 gun perks. And you've seen my vids, you know what it can do. Focus on abilities, especially with classes like the Lancer that relies on burst damage because the burst damage is insane. And this is just the beginning, guys. I'm making this vid under the worst possible circumstances, but you can rest assured I will be covering the class extensively. Sub, like, and share for more content like this. Consider getting a membership on the channel or visit my Patreon if you want to help me further. And until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers.